The date is September 25th, 2020. In the custody suite of Croydon Police Station in South London, 23-year-old Louis De Zoysa sits handcuffed in the sparse holding cell. He'd been brought into the station earlier that night under arrest after he was found to be in possession of cannabis and ammunition during a routine stop and search. In the next couple of seconds, he'll be joined by 54-year-old Sergeant Matt Ratana, who was there to explain De Zoysa's rights to him and to authorize a detailed search of him. So far, nothing is out of the ordinary, and it is a scene that Matt Ratana has undoubtedly attended on many occasions during his prolific career. But things would soon take a turn for the worse, and no one could have anticipated the horror that was about to unfold. Louis De Zoysa was born on July 17, 1997, to Sri Lankan father Channa and British mother Elizabeth in Croydon, South London. Even from a young age, Louis was always considered a bit odd and awkward by classmates. He never made friends easily due to his shy nature, and his fixations on niche topics like engineering and weapons isolated him even further. It was almost as though people his age didn't know what to talk to him about. By the time he was 13 years old, Louis received an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis, which helped explain some of his social difficulties and sensory issues. Treatment options on the family's budget were, however, fairly limited, and the family opted to focus on emotional support rather than expensive medication and therapy. But despite Louis' diagnosis and his social struggles, he still managed to find sanctuary in the classroom and excelled academically, earning straight A's right through his schooling career, although it should also be stated that this brought him no refuge from cruelty. Bullies relentlessly targeted him for his slight weight and odd fixations, often becoming the victim of physical assault. His home life offered no respite either. Rather than providing emotional shelter, the De Zoysa household only compounded Louis' anxiety. Louis told investigators that his father suffered from severe cocaine addiction that poisoned family dynamics throughout his adolescence. He said that when his dad was under the influence, his moods would wildly swing between upbeat playfulness and terrifying rage. Loud arguments between his parents shook the home's foundation nearly every night. Louis told investigators stories of how he would hide in his bedroom as his father screamed obscenities at his mother before sounds of bodies thrown against walls echoed throughout the house. Despite a high IQ and gaining acceptance into a top university program to study mechanical engineering, he dropped out after just 1 year, finding the rigid social expectations of college life overwhelming. However, Louis remained a whiz kid on matters of data and coding, even securing a job at HMRC tax offices, where he displayed his remarkable intellectual abilities in the workplace, earning consistent promotions and bonuses for his analytics talents and coding expertise. Yet a closer look behind the curtain revealed a troubled young man leaning into isolation and addiction. With few social connections beyond family, Louis sought escape through compulsively smoking cannabis, as much as spending £200 per month, while immersing himself in the darkest corners of the internet. He developed a disturbing interest in weapons and explosives, and thoughts about mass violence ran wildly through his mind. The psychological and neurological issues that shaped his unusual childhood, coupled with his excessive drug use, now conflated into a toxic cocktail of paranoid delusions and violent interests. By 2020, Louis had become so paranoid for his own safety that he legally purchased an antique revolver online. He then taught himself to craft customized bullets specifically tailored for his new firearm, the very same bullets which he would later use to kill Sergeant Ratana. On the morning of September 25, 2020, Louis set out carrying the hidden antique revolver, fully loaded with his custom bullets. He headed towards his family home, harboring years of pent-up resentment towards his abusive father. While the ultimate intentions behind his intended visit remain unclear, the fact that he brought along lethal ammunition suggested Louis no longer feared fighting back. It has even been put forward that Louis's ultimate plan for that fateful day was to go to his childhood home and harm his dad. Louis, however, wouldn't complete his journey because he was stopped by officers before making it all the way to his childhood home.
I want to detain you under Section 1 of the Police Criminal Evidence Act, okay? The reason for that is there's a lot of burglars in this area, and I've just seen you walk. You can just keep your hands out your pockets for now. I'll take it and have a look in a minute, all right? The reason is there's a lot of burglaries in this area, okay? It's 1:30 in the morning. I don't know who you are. You've probably got a totally legitimate excuse, all right? But at the moment, you're walking down the road with a duffel bag, all right? Which I believe may have stuff going to equipped to do a burglary, all right? So I'm just going to search you.
This pocket, I've got my ID.
Perfect. Okay, that's fine. Don't put your hands in your pockets. Hey, hello. Don't put your hands in your pockets. Okay. You okay?
At this point, it's clear that Louis De Zoysa is visibly shaken. The officers attribute his odd behavior to nerves and do their best to reassure him, while Louis would later argue that his autistic condition was the cause for his apprehensive demeanor. Another potential factor hung in the balance as well. Concealed secretly inside Louis's jacket was his antique pistol fully loaded with his homemade ammunition.
You're just going to be searched, mate. You're not under arrest. I just need to search you. You okay? All right. Just a bit nervous, yeah?
My parents, please.
Okay. Are they expecting you home? Okay, that's fine. All right, that's fine.
You give me 2 seconds. You give me 2 seconds. Do you want me to hold that? It's alright. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. My colleagues just explained. He was just quickly search you, see if you've got anything, and you're going to be gone. This is all being recorded on body camera. Okay? You're not in trouble. My colleagues just said a few of the grounds. And he was just quickly search you, and you're free to go.
Okay.
Try to do a copy of the slip. Okay?
I'm going to confess, okay, in that bag is non-medical cannabis.
Okay. How much have you got in there?
I've got maybe 3 or so grams.
Okay. All right. I'm still going to have to search you. All right.
Yeah.
So, just pass me your phone and your mask. Okay. All my concern is at the moment is if you've got anything on that's going to hurt me or you. Any needles, any razor blades, anything like that. Okay, fine. Because you just told me you've got drugs on you, I'm just going to have to put you in handcuffs while I search you. The reason... What's the matter?
Hearing that he is about to be searched, Louis is once again visibly shaken. Officers, still thinking it's just nerves, continues to explain the procedure to him. However, Louis is actually scared that they are about to find his concealed weapon. So he quickly thinks of a way to distract them by asking that they move him to the car instead.
So the reason for that is people try and do silly things when we search them. They try and hurt themselves, they try and hurt police officers. All right?
Can you take me into the car, please?
Why? Don't resist. Listen to me very carefully.
I know.
Don't resist.
Okay, we'll put you in the car, but put handcuffs on first, yeah?
Okay.
Is it someone's watching us?
Maybe take the bag, please. Thank you.
Why do you want us to sit you in the car?
Just worried, please.
Why? Why are you worried?
Just
You think your parents might see?
no.
Right, get in the car, mate. Control, can I create a CAD for a stop of a person on London Road, junction with Pollard's Hill North, please? Don't put your hands in your pockets. Don't do that again. Do you understand? Do you understand? That's the 3rd time you've done that, and I've told you not to. Next time, listen to me, next time you're going to be handcuffed to the back. All right? 3 times I've asked you. You speak perfectly good English. Stop doing it.
We don't know if you're reaching for a knife, we don't know what you're reaching in for your pocket.
Inside is my...
Received.
It's my ID, which has my address.
At the moment, I've tried to do you a favour by taking you off the street. You've not told me why. I'm just saving you a little bit of embarrassment. Now you've reached into... Stop talking. You've now reached into your pockets 3 times and I've told you not to, right? You've now told me you've got drugs on you when I thought you might have had some sort of tool on you to burgle someone's house. So now I'm going to search you stood right here, all right? Because I don't know what else you've got on you, and I think there's more to this story than you're letting on, despite having drugs on you, all right? Okay, so I asked you earlier. I'm not too sure what the answer was. Have you got anything on you like sharp that can hurt me or you?
No.
No?
See what it is. It's not me.
Canisters.
Oh.
Right, at the moment, I'm
Right.
placing you under arrest
Okay.
for possession of what I believe to be bullets. All right? Could I have van and cell space for one male adult arrested for possession of what I believe to be bullets on London Road, junction with Pollard's Hill North? How about
Despite the officers conducting a thorough search of Louis, including multiple pat-downs, they somehow failed to uncover the firearm secretly holstered below his clothing. Even though the officers managed to find what they thought to be bullets, they didn't think that he also may have a gun. Louis De Zoysa is then placed in the back of the van and transported to the Croydon Custody Center. During the trip there, you can see De Zoysa fidgeting and moving around. What he is actually doing here is moving the gun out of the holster and into his hands. As he exits the police vehicle, you can actually see him holding on the weapon. Louis De Zoysa is then led to the interview room where he is due to meet with Sergeant Matt Ratana.
Stand up, Mike.
It's been a bit.
Go on.
I think this is it.
Stand up.
So please leave.
What?
Can you please leave? I think I'm going to pass on.
Okay, listen to me. My name's Matt. I'm the custody officer. I'm in charge. I'm not involved in the investigation. You've been arrested on suspicion of possession of bullets, ammunition, and possession of intent to supply.
Class B.
Class B. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Your detention's not been authorised yet, but I can authorise a search of you under Section 54 of PACE. Stand up. Mate, you're good enough to.
As Louis De Zoysa fired off his first shot, he hit Sergeant Ratana directly in the chest. The other officers immediately pounced on Louis, but he managed to fire 3 more shots. 2 of those shots hit Sergeant Ratana, while the third hit the cell wall, and the fourth ricocheted off the floor and hit Louis in the neck. Both Louis and Sergeant Ratana was rushed to hospital and placed in intensive care. Sergeant Ratana would unfortunately die while Louis would survive, although he had been in a coma for 2 months following the incident, and he had suffered some brain damage and was paralyzed. The state stood poised to pursue murder charges against Louis De Zoysa. However, his legal team persisted, arguing that because of medical complications, Louis remained unfit to face trial. Friends and family of Matt Ratana feared that justice may never materialize and that Louis may have gotten away with murder. Luckily, though, 9 months later, Louis finally stabilized adequately enough for court proceedings to commence. The judge found that despite lingering communication deficits that left Louis unable to speak, simple yes or no queries and written board responses proved sufficient tools for basic testimony. And so with that minimum criteria met, the presiding judge gave the go-ahead to an albeit imperfect but legally competent trial phase, given the extraordinary circumstances. When Louis' trial commenced in June 2023, the state prosecutors pulled no punches, decrying his cold-blooded execution of Sergeant Ratana. They told the court how Sergeant Ratana was a universally beloved public servant who had dutifully devoted his entire career to protecting British citizens, even postponing retirement to see the job through. In fact, at the time of the killing, Sergeant Ratana was only 2 months away from official retirement. His cruel murder had robbed Ratana's loved ones of cherished years together. The prosecution maintained Louis' actions represented an irredeemable betrayal of humanity itself, one that deserved the fullest punishments law could mete out. The defense responded, arguing Louis' documented autism spectrum disorder constituted legitimate grounds for diminished legal and ethical responsibility. They said Louis experienced an involuntary neurological meltdown inside the cell, unable to control behaviors fueled by childhood trauma and fear. They implored the jury to see this as a mitigating factor regarding perceived malicious intent. Yet after vigorous legal arguments between prosecution and defense, the 12-person jury ultimately sided with the state's unwavering position of guilt. Their unanimous guilty verdict on all charges affirmed Louis bore responsibility for his unconscionable actions, regardless of the mental health issues faced. Due to the gravity of the loss suffered by his victim's family and the callousness of the crime, the judge decided to hand Louis De Zoysa the maximum punishment possible, a whole life term. This means that Louis De Zoysa would spend the rest of his natural life in prison without the possibility of parole.